Now, of course, the Chief Medical Officer has come out today to explain why Australia, in my view, is doing the sensible thing and making sure that we limit the exposure of people, yes, Australians, coming back, yes, to their own country, but from a place that is literally racking up hundreds of thousands of cases every single day.
The advice we provided was what we were asked for, which was related to that particular section of the Act, which was what is the public health threat, what is the nature of that public health threat, what sort of time would need to decrease that threat, and also what sort of things could be done to decrease that threat.
So each way Albo says, what's the advice that we get from the experts? The Prime Minister is acting on that advice because literally yesterday a world record number of cases came through India, 400,000. This thing's likely to peak at 500,000 cases each and every day. Here's the Prime Minister talking to Ray Hadley on 2GB today.
I mean, there is a raging pandemic, and we need to just continue to take decisions that are in the best health interests of Australia. This only needs to be there in place for as long as it needs to be there to keep Australians safe. And I would just implore all those members of the Australians and Australian residents as well, with family and friends in India who have Indian heritage. I want to thank them for their patience and their understanding with this decision. I know there'll be plenty of people who will try to tell them all sorts of things about this, about what it means. It only means that we're trying to keep Australians safe. And as Australians, we're all in this together.
Now, just in case you think that this is only a decision being taken by the hard hearts in Canberra, guess how many countries have banned tonight their own citizens coming back from India? Australia is one of 21 countries that have made this decision. Countries as diverse as Australia, Canada, Dubai, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, the UAE, the UK, the US, and believe it or not, Iran and Israel both have the same policy when it comes to people coming from India. Now also, those who have suggested that there's some sort of race element in all of this, I'm somewhat surprised because I didn't hear the same things being said when we banned people coming from China. Now, why is it that it was racist now but it wasn't racist then? The whole point was that where the apex of the pandemic is, that's where the decision has been made for Australians not to return. But also, can I just point out as well, just to cool things ever so slightly, if an Australian is in India right now and desperately would like to return to Australia, they can do it. The thing is, they have to go to a second country for 2 weeks. Any one of the many countries that have not banned flights from India. You spend 2 weeks in those countries before you're able to fly back to Australia to do hotel quarantine here. So the idea that there's a bunch of people standing around the Australian embassy as if it was the last helicopter leaving Singapore in the Second World War is just not true. But also, remember those who did say that the China ban was racist. These are the people who, well, now are completely okay with the American government banning travel from India. Does this surprise you? That people who had a problem about China don't have a problem about India, in the same way that people who do have a problem about India didn't have a problem about China? Here's the Democrats in the US.
Fall back on xenophobia.
America is responsible for a global xenophobic attack against China.
This order is against what we believe in America. The order will make us inhumane. America, for its history, has been a shining beacon, and it has said, we welcome you. We will not let this evil order extinguish that great torch. And we will win this fight.
So are any of those people protesting when it is America under Team Blue making a decision to ban people returning from a specific country? Don't hold your breath. This was the announcement from the actual President of the United States.
We have announced that there's going to be a travel restriction starting on Tuesday on the advice of the Centers for Disease Control, our COVID-19 experts, medical experts, our national security advisors.
That's, of course, the Vice President who's vaccinated and doesn't need to wear a mask outside. That's the advice coming from the CDC to the American government. And while opinion polls are not binding, they are but just a little moment in time. The Lowy Institute put out a poll today about Australians' attitude towards those that are coming home. Is the government doing enough to bring people home? 60% of Australians say, yeah, about right. 7% say we're doing too much. It's 33% who say they're not doing enough. So look, I get it. Should Australian citizens have the right to return to their own country? Absolutely. But if the logic was okay to ban flights when things were really bad in China, then the logic has to extend to what's happening in India. If there is an absolute need to return to Australia and you're in India, you can go to a third country for 2 weeks, then come home. But what a surprise that Albo's each way on this. The Democrats are each way on this.